Susan Brocksmith, I mentioned something about there's a product out there, and I think I said it was RU486 or something like that. That, of course, is the product that used to be available for women to terminate a pregnancy. The product that's used, that's not what we're talking about at all. This was talking about bringing dogs into heat. And there's a product, and Susan gets it correct, it's called PG600, and it's a dog a hormone, excuse me, it's a pig hormone. The people are using dogs bring dogs in. And Susan says what I said, Lord, please just be patient, don't use it. I would not use any of these products unless you've really got a dog that's been a long time, a couple of years not coming to heat, and you're desperate. That's the only time, because the chances are is it's not going to be a particularly good outcome for you. Don't like mucking around with nature, basically. Laurie McDonald's, I've got one puppy who's grown, but his nipple is swollen. No puppy to feed, but what can I do about this? No vets here to do a home visit. Well, I don't think any vets can do a home visit these days. Well, I mean, I think that, look, if you've got a dog with a swollen nipple, then it's either going to resolve itself, specifically if you can express some muck out of it, do so. If not, it probably needs antibiotics. And the problem with antibiotics, you can go get antibiotics for things like fish mox, which is amoxicillin. You could give something like that. But it's pretty, it's not a good idea to start giving antibiotics out unless you know what you're treating. Sometimes we get in a situation where we just don't know what's going on. As a last recourse, the vet will say, look, we'll just put them on some antibiotics, see if it helps. And that's fine. But if you've got a dog that has a kind of a swelling on a nipple, then I mean either it's it's an infection that needs to have some antibiotics, or it's something maybe more serious like a tumor or something like that. And I mean if you can't tell what it is, I certainly can't tell what it is just by that single paragraph that you provided. In which case, guess what? Time to go to the vet. And then if you say you don't have the money to go to the vet, I'm going to chastise you a little bit, because you need to have a game plan when you raise puppies, because you occasionally are going to run into problems that are going to take some money to sort out. And if your answer is I don't have the money, you probably shouldn't be breeding the dog in the first place. I know you're not liking that answer, and I don't mean to be mean, but I'm just kind of being brutally honest about the fact that it's like if you're going to have a baby, then you have to look at your home finances to find out exactly when a baby makes sense, so that you can bring that baby up in the right way. And just to have a baby without thinking about those things, is potentially a mistake. So I have some questions. Do you have contact information? Yep. You can ask for comments here. I'll answer those. Or you can look at the very front of the video, and there's a phone number there, and you can call that phone number. Happy Girl says, hello, my 8-month-old Frenchy boy has poop covered in mucus about once a week. No diarrhea, just covered in mucus. Acting fine. What are your thoughts? No, I mean, typically when you see mucousy poop, it's because the dog's got either Giardia or Coccidia. It tends to be a lot more runny, and it tends to be flecked with blood or streaks of blood in it. And you're not saying that here. So, I'm wondering whether this is something in the diet that's going on here. The dog is, how old's the dog? It's 8 months old. So, I mean, it's quite possible the dog's getting into something and eating it. The dog's happy. The dog's not showing any other signs of any problems. So I wouldn't get too concerned about this. But I mean, if you haven't wormed the dog, I'd worm the dog with safeguard, because it may be an internal parasite. Somebody made a comment about that, and it quite possibly could be so. So look, if you're not worming your dogs, you should be worming your dogs everywhere. And we worm every 3 months on older dogs. Younger dogs get wormed every 2 weeks until they're about 12 weeks old. So if you haven't been worming, worm. And if this continues to go on, I would look at his diet, see if he's getting some food from somewhere else that may be causing the problem. And then if the dog shows any signs of having any problems, go to the vet and get a fecal exam done. Haley Dobus from Sydney. I'm interested to see if you think both cream and intensity gene will lighten the fawn on my pups. Possibly so. So, this is the thing about fawn. A fawn dog would be an AYAY dog that doesn't have brindle. A sable dog, which looks somewhat similar, would be an AYAT dog that does not have brindle. Those will be fawns and sable dogs. And certainly there is a big variation in fawns, all the way from a red color all the way through to something that's, apricots to almost a creams. You can get fooled by this and thinking that a dog is a cream dog, which should be a little E dog, when in fact it's not, it's a fawn dog. And certainly, I suspect, the intensity gene plays a part in this. And certainly, if you look at things like tan points, an AT-AT dog that has tan points will look much clearer, whiter, if it's got 2 copies of intensity, and to a certain extent if it has a copy of cream. So there are some things going on here, but I don't think we've got the genetics down. There's probably other genes present too that we don't know about that affect us. I mean, it's like in human beings. Look at hair color. We categorize things as redheads, brunettes, blondes, blacks, but there's variations in shades in those colors, and presumably there's other genes that are affecting that. It's going to be exactly the same thing with dogs. How much mineral oil do you give to 3-week-old Frenchie, and do I feed it to him as an enema or orally? So what's going on here is that you've got a dog that's constipated, and so you're trying to help the dog with that. So there's 2 ways that you can do this. One is that you can give mineral oil or olive oil in the mouth, which helps generally coat the entire digestive system, and it can help for blockages that are further up in the intestinal tract. And so if you're having problems, for instance, if a dog has swallowed something, like a toy, that it can't pass, then the first round of attack on this would be to go give it, some, depending on the size of the dog, a fair amount of mineral oil. And when I say a fair amount, I mean a spoonful of mineral oil for a bigger dog. 2 times, 3 times a day, and see if it can pass that object. If it can't, you may have to have surgery on that dog. If this is a constipation problem that's caused by dehydration of poop that can't pass out, then you could give an enema one of 2 ways. You could either use soapy water. When I say soapy, I mean warm water with just a little bit of soap in it, that you take a syringe and you blow up its butt. Or when I say blow, I mean you use the syringe, not blow like that. Well, you can. You might be in a pile of poop if you do that. Or you could put some mineral oil with it. The whole purpose of this is to try and grease up my cat's down by my feet.
Hey, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.